Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to show you how to create and edit a phrase. Basically, a phrase is just like a block of text that you can insert into your narrative with a click of a button. This would usually be like an intervention, like an IV start, or a medication you administered on scene, or like an assessment, like a stroke scale. It's stuff that you might not do on every single call, but when you do them and you add them to your narrative, you usually write them out the same way. So it's just a quick and easy way to add this text to your narratives. If you already generated a narrative on the site or watched the Getting Started tutorial, you'll notice that I have like on the right side in the narrative page a list of phrases already available to you. Um, these are good to go as is, but if you wanted to create something in your own words or tweak the ones that I have a little bit, I'll show you how to do that in this tutorial. So to get to the phrases, you're going to come to this page when you log in anyway, and you're just going to click down here on the box that says phrases. So you haven't created any yet. To add a new one, we're going to go up to the add phrase button here, and you'll see this list of all the phrases I mentioned before that I made available to you guys. So to use it yourself and edit it, you would actually first have to copy one. So for instance, we could look at albuterol here, and it gives you the content that'll go in with these inputs, which I'll show you in a second what they do. For this tutorial, I'm just going to start one from scratch so you can see from the ground up how it works. And to do that, we're going to click on blank phrase. So if you've seen my create template tutorial, the page looks very similar and it works the exact same way for phrases as well. So you'll have the name of your phrase. You'll have this text area, which is the actual context that's going to go into your narrative when you use it. And then you have this tool over here called inputs, and I'll show you how that works in a second. So I have a narrative that I did in the getting started tutorial that I want to add the phrase that like I gave aspirin to the patient to that narrative. So we're just going to create a narrative, or sorry, we're going to create a new phrase for aspirin or like administering aspirin. Um, so I'll just call it aspirin. And I usually write these the same way, which is kind of the point of phrases. So EMS crew administered. I'm gonna put dot 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 here to kind of substitute in for our dose, since there's technically different doses we could give to the patient. Milligrams of aspirin, and we usually give it orally, so I'm just going to use that as the one option per os. So here with this dot dot dot, it could be usually we give 324 milligrams, at least where I work, but they are an 81 milligram tablet, so we'll make that an option as well. And then I think in the hospital they have 325 milligrams. So there's different amounts you can give that could change from call to call, even though you write the rest of your phrase the exact same way. That's where this input tool comes into play. It basically helps you fill in the specifics of the call a lot quicker and easier. So we're going to create one for the dose. So we go up here to the plus sign. Um, Again, this is exactly how inputs are created for the templates as well. So if you know how to do that, you're set for this. We're going to call this dose because that's what it is. We're going to be filling in the dose there. And we're going to give it options. So when we go to put this into our narrative on the narrative page, we can have options just to click to add in quicker than like writing it out. So we'll do 81 was one we said. 324 is typically what we're going to do anyway. And then 325 if for whatever reason you have tablets like that. So we submitted it. We created this input over here on the right, but like with the templates, if it's not in the text area, it's not going to be of any use to us. So it actually has to be inserted in here in the brackets. So we want it to be at where the dots are. So we'll select the dots, click on the button, and there you go. It's good to go. So this actually saves automatically when you insert that, but we'll just save again just to show you how it works. So I mentioned before, I have a narrative that we already wrote. It was a chest pain call is what we wrote it for. So we're going to go to that. And to get to some of your old narratives that you've generated, if you want to edit them further or just need to copy and paste them or whatever you need to do with them, you can go up to this library tab up here on the nav bar. We'll click that. And this first narrative here, this 911, is going to be the one we want. So basically, just to go back through this, if you haven't watched the Getting Started tutorial, I'd recommend doing it. This is what it's going to look like after you've generated a narrative completely. So uh, this is pretty much done, and we copied and pasted it and added it to our PCR. But say we hadn't gotten quite that far, we want to add aspirin still. Um, this was a call for chest pain. I didn't write too much. He woke up with chest pain, and we did a 12 lead. So after the 12 lead is maybe when we gave this aspirin. Oh shoot, I already had one. Imagine you didn't see that. I'm gonna show you again how that went in there. So the 12 lead was taken. And then the next thing that we should have seen is the patient was moved to the stretcher, and we're gonna add an aspirin right here at this spot. So that's kind of how, like, if we did on scene, that's how we. That's when we took it. That's when we'll insert it. So over here on the right side, we have phrases. You'll see now we have two aspirins. One is the one available to everyone, and then this little person one is the one that you just created. It's a one just for you. So if you could go and search for these if you wanted to get a list of them. Otherwise, we have this picture up here that correlates with it. If you click this, it's only going to show your own phrases for the narrative. So again, this is where we want it. We'll click on the spot we want it, and we'll click aspirin to open it up. And you see exactly the content that we had when we were creating it. And then this replace dose box here is going to replace this bracket up here. So again, we'll say we gave 324. And if I press insert right now, since this is the only and mainly the last input that's in our content, it's going to fill out 324 into there, and then it's just going to insert the entire thing into our narrative. So we'll press insert, and you'll see how that works. All right. So it works. It worked out correctly. So we have EMS crew administered 324 milligrams of aspirin per os, exactly where we want it. Um, and so that's pretty much all there is to the phrases, creating them, and then you have your list on the right, and you can just add text. And again, it doesn't have to be just an intervention or an assessment. It could be any kind of text that you just want to add simply to a narrative that you can create and use. So that's all I have for this tutorial. I hope it helped you out here.